let's talk Ryan Pineda. You know, Ryan Pineda.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Ryan Pineda Show. Ryan Pineda Show. Ryan Pineda Show. Ryan Pineda Show.
So I like my finance YouTubers to be relatable, and I'm not sure that this is something that Ryan has really emphasized on his channel. I've been watching some of his older videos and I'm just not seeing that. So Ryan never really talks about how he's got to start in real estate. I think one thing that he's not telling us is that he started where everybody else started. And I think that this would be a great way for him to relate more to his audience and to the people that are a couple of steps behind him, specifically when it comes to real estate investing. So I did a deep dive to see if I could relate just a little bit better to Ryan's content. So let's go ahead and take a look and see if I can. So I went ahead and highlighted some things in his book here, and I made sure to do that and read through his book so that you didn't have to. So we'll just touch on the really important topics. So he is religious. You can see this here. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future, Jeremiah 29:11. And that is from the Bible. So, and I have heard him talk about that before. So he is religious. And let's scroll down. I think the next section that was really important. And if you do want to go ahead and read this book, you actually just go to his website, futureflipper.com, and it's actually a free download, and it is a really, really easy read and pretty interesting. Definitely something that I would recommend. And this is just a background on how he grew up and why he decided to get into real estate initially. We were always able to go on family vacations, baseball tournaments, and and anything we wanted to do. So many of my friends' parents couldn't come to baseball games or events because they were held down by their normal jobs. I noticed we never had any of these type of problems with my mom being in real estate, and my dad being self-employed. So that is one of the big leading factors into him becoming a real estate agent, was to have the freedom, which essentially is why all of us, I say we in general, probably are watching this channel, at least interested in real estate investing, have gotten into that for the freedom. So I see where he's going there. And this is really where his real estate journey starts in terms of him actually starting investing. So in 2011, my cousin and I decided we wanted to buy a house together. After months of searching, we settled on a nice 4-bedroom home for $160,000. That same home sold for $400,000 just a couple years earlier. So this is right at the tail end of the recession. He was in Vegas at the time. And Vegas, being a tourist town, got hit especially hard. So that's something just to keep in mind there. So basically what he did here was he house hacked. He goes on to say a little bit later, it wasn't even a good deal. But in this, he basically talks about how he just rented out the rooms to roommates, therefore covering the mortgage. Ended up selling that for $215,000. Which he just took advantage of some natural appreciation. So right there, we can see that he used house hacking for his first house to get into real estate investing. And I think knowing that he house hacked his first house in order to get into real estate is a big step to knowing how relatable someone is, because I say, oh, you should house hack, or I say, oh, you should do this. But you guys may not know that when I bought my first house with my wife, we got a good deal, got a good wedge deal, demoed the entire thing, like basically gutted the inside, redid everything, and then sold it for a profit. So that way you can know that I'm relatable to you. So when I'm saying do this, or, buy a house hack or buy a wedge deal and live in it while you're fixing it, you know that I'm relatable to you. So this was actually really good for me personally to know that Ryan has been in it. We'll see this a little bit more as we continue to read. After his first flip, he decided to buy another property, which makes sense. Owned it for 6 months and made $26,000 on it. Essentially, here he had a tenant in there, decided to sell. They ended up buying it. Then he got married to his wife. Essentially, throughout here, I don't know if we've talked about the baseball or not. I didn't really highlight anything in or related to baseball in this. I don't remember if he was already drafted by the A's or had not made it there yet. But essentially, they were going through hard times. Things got so bad, I stopped doing real estate and started flipping furniture on Craigslist, which that's one of his most viral videos. I think, at least it was last time I checked. So you may have seen that video about how he flipped the furniture on Craigslist. Sold my brand new car, bought a 10-year-old truck so I could flip couches and pay the bills. We've all been there. I mean, but this is good. This is good, relatable content, because now I know and you know that, hey, he's been in it, he's been broke, and this is what he did to get out of it. And this was, 5-6 years ago or whatever, however far away it was. Because he's not that old. I think he's only 30 or 31. His wife and him were on their first anniversary. Saw a TV advertisement So an advertisement about their upcoming seminar, they claimed you could flip houses with no money down. He was skeptical, which I think that we all are, so that makes sense. Basically said you can find all the information online already, and that's the age that we're in today, where you can find all this information online for free. That everything that is essentially talked about, yeah, there's some more like nitty gritty stuff in terms of like insurance and things like that. They're definitely like helpful when it comes to courses and things like that, especially in terms of structuring and everything like that. But we can see that he used free resources online to get started, which is super cool. And now it's especially cool because he's on YouTube giving out free resources. Granted, he has a course that you can buy. It's around $1,000. I haven't bought it. I'm a member of Meet Kevin's courses, so I usually use his courses. Again, that's how we got started. House hacking, bought another deal, just, and then free resources to kind of continue his education. So super great, super relatable so far. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. He had the basic tools to flip a house now. So this is where it gets a little ridiculous. This is where he kind of got a little extreme. So I called on my credit cards and got them to raise my limits. I had $50,000 in credit and I cash advanced them to the max. I was at the point of no return now. I just had to find a deal. This man, he went all in. And keep in mind that at this point he's got a wife. He's not 18-year-old, doesn't have a care in the world. Like, this man has a family. He purchased it with hard money, and then $45,000 covered the down payment and the rehab costs. So not only did he use credit card money, he also used hard money, and then he used the rest of the money to buy a second property because another one popped up on the market, which I think is such great dedication to real estate and real estate investing. I don't know if I would have the emotional strength to be able to do that, just being honest. And then between those two flips, they made about $40,000, which is a lot. It's a lot of money. It's $40,000 he didn't have before. $20,000 each flip. That's okay. Not exactly something that you're not swinging for the fences with that part. You're not gonna retire off those numbers. If he did 20 grand at the volume he does now, he's a very rich man. So clearly it's been working out for him. And then this is where the book kind of goes into the actual like meat of the book in terms of like real estate investing tips and things like this. So I think it's important to see kind of the man behind who he is now, just to know that like, hey, a lot of these things he's done himself, or has at least worked through it mentally, which I think is very important, which is part of the reason that I liked Meet Kevin so much. I started following Meet Kevin around 60,000 subscribers, up until probably like 400,000 or 500,000 subscribers, right about the time the pandemic started, and he stopped doing a lot of the real estate content. He was very, very relatable to me at that point because he was only a couple of steps ahead of me. Ryan is a lot of steps ahead of me. And so I wanted to be able to connect on a way that I feel like he could be more relatable, knowing that like, hey, he's like grinded through it. And that's why I talk about all the time buying my first home and gutting it, buying the foreclosure that we live in now and fixing it, and then buying the rental property and then fixing it and cash out refinancing it so that we can afford to buy another property. Like, I'm not that many steps ahead of somebody that has no properties and no real estate investing experience. So I'm trying to continually be relatable to everybody that watches these videos. So this is definitely helpful for me in getting to know Ryan just a little bit better. And then maybe I'll be able to relate a little bit better to his content and just enjoy it a little bit more and soak up a little bit more. But anyways, make sure to hit that like button. That really helps the channel out. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you next video.